Hi everybody, and welcome back to Artsy Fartsy with Emily. This week we are talking about the artist MC Escher, and we are talking about the element of art pattern. MC Escher was a Dutch artist that was born more than 100 years ago. MC Escher loved creating artwork that challenged the eyes and the mind. Many of his artworks are optical illusions. Here, he created hands drawing. Which hand is drawing which? Which hand is real and which is the drawing? Here he draws a reflective mirror ball. Many of MC Escher's creations feature stairs. It is hard to tell which way is up or how these buildings connect. The optical illusions in this piece blend together art and reality. Where does the drawing end and where does it really begin? The lizards are crawling in and out of a kind of picture called a tessellation. Here are some examples of tessellations. Tessellations are artwork made of pieces that fit together like a puzzle. Here you see how the lizards all fit together. Notice that the red and white fish in the middle are all the same shape. The Pegasus wings fit right underneath the chin of the other ones. If you want to look at these more closely, just pause the video. MC Escher made more complicated tessellations like this one. He blended two different shapes, fish and birds. He often used lizards in tessellations like this one. They go from big to small, or do they go from small to big? What do you think? MC Escher also used an art technique called Zentangles. He used repeating patterns to fill shapes and space. Here are two examples of Zentangles other people have made. You can see they used the same shapes and lines over and over to fill one section, and then they moved on to the next section and chose a different pattern or shape, repeated over and over to fill it up. We are going to create our own artwork in the style of MC Escher. For this project, you will need a plain white piece of paper, a fine tip black marker, and a simple tracing pattern. If you did not get a simple tracing pattern from your teacher, you can just trace something circular like a roll of tape or a glass. I have a simple rabbit shape that I cut out of a piece of file folder. You can also use a cookie cutter if you don't have a tracer. Make sure to hold your tracer firmly in place while you trace around it. Trace your simple shape 2 more times, making sure it overlaps the others. Take your time, but don't worry if your tracing isn't perfect. Look for the spaces or rooms between the lines. Fill each space or room all the way up with a different pattern like stripes, squares, zigzags, or squiggles. If you are using a simple circle shape to make your Escher-inspired Tessellation Zentangle, I recommend tracing it 4 or more times. Make sure the circles overlap. In each section, choose a different repeating pattern that you have not used yet. Here are some pattern ideas you might want to use to fill each of the different sections of your tracings. Pause the video on this screen if you need to. Great job, you did it. You created your very own MC Escher inspired artwork. We used black and white, just like Escher often did, and you repeated patterns and shapes just like MC Escher did in his Tessellations and Zentangles. Great job. Keep creating and keep learning.